All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your Akazaki Yahoo, and I start this broadcast as I would start any broadcast by first of all giving all praises, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power, Yahuwah Bahashem, Yahushua Hamashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth. I say, shalom, wa, baruchim, that is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day that the Most High brings us back together, and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High power, under one covenant, and back in our own land with a heart of flesh and no more a heart of stone. Hallelujah. All right, so we are going to get into the Sabbath lesson from yesterday's Sabbath class from our good brothers over at TCS, from my own Adawan over there, Adawan Quab, King Yaquab, and Brandon, the good brother, reading for the Adawan, breaking down the understanding of Satan on earth. Satan on earth. So get your notepads, get your pens, get your notes ready, get your scripts, so you can follow along precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. My Adawan is going to break this down for all of us to understand clearly and concisely what we can expect when Hashatan is on the earth.
Shabbat shalom. Still low. Can y'all hear me? Well, is it loud enough? Can you hear me in the back? All right.
What about me? Sound funny, but okay.
Sound like it's muffled. Right? Yeah? All right. Well,
All right, Shabbat Shalom. How's everybody feeling with our
with our hands.
hands? All right, so we gonna pick it up from where I left off the last time. We was in Revelation 12. Y'all remember anything about that? We was in Jacob's trouble. We was in the midst or the thick of Jacob's trouble. Why was Jacob in trouble? Okay. And how did he eventually get out of trouble? All right. So we know that according to what we went through last time, that the serpent is no longer at this point, well, not right now, but in the thick of things when this happens, that he's not going to be in the heavens anymore, but he'll be where? He'll be on the earth, right? So he asks y'all a question. If it wasn't for Yah's law, how would you be living? How would your life be different? Voila. Well, so do any of y'all view Yah's law as a hindrance to you? You can be real, you know. He actually know the thoughts of the heart, so you might fool me and be, well, you can't fool me either, but all right then. So this enemy that we got is very, very slick, clever. And he works through trickery. When he came to Adam and Eve, he didn't have a gun. He didn't have a knife. He didn't have no weapon. What was his weapon in there? His words. He talked them into killing themselves. That's how it starts. Right? Let's get into it. Revelation chapter 12, verse 9.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Shaitan, which deceives the whole world.
He does what?
Which deceives the whole world.
Which deceived. Or what does it say?
Deceives.
This means that his real deception is only going to start when he get down. So what you going through now is nothing. So this deception right here that it's talking about, that he deceives the whole world, it starts when he gets down here. But he been doing it all through your life, all through human history, but it's going to be turned up 1,000 here because it starts when he gets down here. Read that again.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Shaitan, which deceives the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his Malachim were cast out with him.
They were what?
Cast out with him.
So it's not just him. It's all his wicked Malachims is coming down with him. So now he's coming down. He lost the fight in the heavens, right? But he not only lost the fight, what did he lose while being kicked out? His what? He lost his position. He's no longer able, we'll see. So he lost his position. So now his people is like, ain't nobody taking our spots. So since we can't get Yah, what's the best thing? If we can't get him, what do? Come after his people, right? That's how the mob stuff work, right? Can't get him, I'll get your kids at school. Right? Same type of thing. Jump back to verse 6.
Revelation 12 and 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness.
She did what?
Fled into the wilderness.
Why did she have to flee into the wilderness? Not just up, not just walk, but it says fled. What does fled mean? running in a haste, moving quickly. So it said that this woman fled into the wilderness. Why does she have to flee? Somebody is pursuing her. This woman is Israel. This woman is our people. So she has to flee into the wilderness. Read.
Where she has a place prepared of Elohim.
She has a what?
A place prepared of Elohim.
Read.
That they should feed her there 1,203 score days.
How long?
1,203 score days.
So what's another way of saying that? 3.5 years or 42 months. So everybody that listens to this has a chance to make it. Now, how many groups were our people split into? 3. It was 3. So now it's about to focus on this one group. So this group has been put into the wilderness, and he says he's going to feed her for 3.5 years. Let's get Hosea chapter 2 and verse 14. So just because you make it to the wilderness don't mean that you actually are clear, but you are away from the serpent. Hosea chapter 2, verse 14.
The book of Hosea, chapter 2 and verse 14. Therefore, behold, I will allure her.
I will do what?
I will allure her.
What does allure mean? So Yah says, I will allure her. Read.
And bring her into the wilderness.
And bring her where?
Into the wilderness.
So this is Yah talking about how he going to get you to come to the wilderness. He says, I'm going to allure. It's out.
Check.
Check 1, 2.
You.
So Yah says, I'm going to allure her into the wilderness. Read.
And bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably.
And do what?
And speak comfortably.
How does this sound like he's speaking to Israel? With what? And like yeah. So I'm gonna lure her and I'm gonna speak comfortably to her. I want you to remember, Satan is trying to be the side man. Y'all feel me? He wants to he wants to be the side man. All right? He wants to talk you out of your great position that you're in and make you give up everything for nothing. Right? We see a lot of people do this in the physical world. Read on.
And speak comfortably unto her, and I will give her her vineyards from there, and the valley of Achor.
In the valley of where?
Of Achor.
In the valley of Achor. Anybody know anything about the valley of Achor? No? We'll see in a minute. Read on.
For a door of hope.
For a door of what?
A door of hope.
So Achor represents right here a door of hope. Keep that in mind. Read on.
And she shall sing there.
She shall do what?
She shall sing there.
She shall sing there. Sing something. B went over something in his last lesson about people singing something. What y'all think they're going to be singing? They were singing the song of Moses. Then it turns into the song of Yah. Read on.
And she shall sing there, as in the days of her youth.
In the days of what?
Of her youth.
What does it mean in the days of her youth? What was the times when she was quote unquote younger? The Egyptian times. That's when we became a nation. That's Israel in its youth. So it's referring you back to this time. Read.
And as in the day when she came up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be at that day, says Yahuwah, that you shall call me Ishi.
You shall what?
Call me Ishi.
You shall call me husband. Read.
And shall call me no more Baali.
No more who?
Baali.
Baali. What does that mean, Baali?
Master.
My master or Lord. What does the most of the world call him now? The Lord, right? So he's saying, in this time, you ain't gonna no longer call me this anymore. Read.
For I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth.
The name of who?
Baalim out of her mouth.
So that must mean that this is the God that's being worshipped at this time. We know that it's Satan, but it has another name. What's that name right there for real? It is Baal. It's the ancient worship that's been going on since the Tower of Babel, and it's continued all the way until this time. Yep. So this is the worship that's going to be going on in that time, and it's the worship that's been happening the whole time since the Tower of Babel. Read.
For I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name. And in that day will I make a covenant for them with the beast of the field.
With what?
With the beast of the field.
Read.
And with the fowls of Shamaim, and with the creeping things of the ground. And I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth, and I will make them to lie down safely. And I will betroth you unto me forever.
I will do what?
I will betroth you unto me forever.
What does betroth mean? Marriage. Read.
I will betroth you unto me in righteousness.
So somebody wants to betroth you in wickedness. And they want to give you the desires of your flesh. Now, which one sounds better? To be allured into righteousness, or the one that'll tell you that you can do what you want to do? We saying it, but is that the case for real?
Righteousness come with correction, chastisement, reproof, rebuke. Or you can just do what you want and wear what you want, look how you want,
Right.
say what you want.
Whatever you decide is modest, it's modest. If you say that these words that I use are not bad words and they're not offensive, and I want to do this, that, and the third, hey, you can do it. So Yah wants to betroth you into righteousness, but the side dude is trying to get you to live your best life. I want you to keep that in mind. He's trying to give you your best life. Read on.
And I will betroth you unto me forever. Yeah, I will betroth you unto me in righteousness and in judgment and in loving kindness and in mercies. I will even betroth you unto me in faithfulness.
And what?
In faithfulness.
In faithfulness. What verse you at?
20.
All right, we good right there.
Is it? Okay.
So get me Joshua chapter 7 and verse 24. So remember, he says, I'm going to bring you into the valley of Achor, right?
The book of Joshua, chapter 7, at verse 24. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his donkeys, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had. And they brought them unto the valley of Achor.
They brought them where?
Unto the valley of Achor.
They brought them to the valley of Achor. So y'all just told us that if you are in this group in this wilderness, I'm going to give the valley of Achor for a door of hope. So Achan and his whole family is being brought to the valley of Achor. Keep that in mind. Read.
And Joshua said, why have you troubled us?
Why have you what?
Why have you troubled us?
Why have you troubled us? Read.
And Yahuwah shall trouble you this day.
He shall do what?
Trouble you this day.
He's going to trouble you this day. Now, what did Achan do? He stole the silver and the gold and the Babylonian garment. Now, before I thought that this was talking about like a Gucci fit or something, but it's not. It's more talking about like a religious outfit that they were Baal worships, like a robe type thing, because this is what we kept falling into, the Baal worship. So, yeah. So we know that the Baal worship was going on. So he was getting that stuff, trying to be like them and trying to inherit their stuff. And y'all's like, nope, don't do that. Read that last verse again. I think he's at 25.
Yeah, my bad. And Joshua said, why have you troubled us? Yahuwah shall trouble you this day. And all of Israel stoned him with stones.
They did what?
Stoned him with stones.
Who else?
And burned them with fire.
Who was the them?
And his whole house.
His whole house and his animals. Everybody got it off of what he's done. Read.
After they had stoned them with stones, and they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So Yahuwah turned from his fierceness, from the fierceness of his anger, wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor unto this day.
Unto what?
Unto this day.
Unto this day. So right here, what should Achan have came forward and done? Did what? He should have came forth and confessed before they caught him up in it. He should have came forward and confessed his faults and what he had done. But he didn't do it until he was already caught. We're going to see something about this. All right. Get me Leviticus chapter 26, verse 40. Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 40.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 26 at verse 40. If they shall confess their iniquity,
If they shall what?
confess their iniquity,
Read.
and the iniquity of their fathers with their trespass.
So
which,
even if you feel that you clean yourself, you still supposed to confess what? The iniquity of your forefathers. Read.
and the iniquity of their fathers with their trespass.
With what?
With their trespass.
Read.
Which they trespassed against me. And that also they have walked contrary unto me. And that I also have walked contrary unto them. And I have brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment.
They do what?
Accept of the punishment of their iniquity.
Accept of the punishment, or keep talking about, I didn't do this, my forefathers did it. Read that again.
And I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob.
Then will I do what?
Remember my covenant with Jacob.
But what if you don't confess? What if you hold on to it and say, I'm innocent? Then he won't remember. See how this works? Read.
Then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land.
The what?
The land.
I will remember the land. So I want you to keep all this in mind about this confessing. Micah chapter 7 and verse 14.
The book of Micah, chapter 7. The book of Micah, chapter 7 at verse 14. Feed your people.
Do what?
Feed your people with your rod.
Feed your people with the rod. Read.
The flock of your heritage, which dwell solitarily in the wood, in the midst of Carmel.
In the midst of where?
Of the midst of Carmel.
So now he's mentioning locations of where this is at. Read.
Let them feed in Bashan and Gilead, as in the days of old.
As in what?
The days of old.
So where was we at in the wilderness in the days of old? In the wilderness. We came out of Egypt and went into the wilderness. He's mentioning the places right now. Read that from the top again.
Feed your people with your rod, the flock of your heritage, which dwell solitarily in the wood, in the midst of Carmel.
In the midst of where?
In the midst of Carmel.
This is one place. Read.
Let them feed in Bashan.
And where?
In Bashan.
Read.
And in Gilead.
And in where?
And in Gilead.
So this is three places that we were at in the wilderness. Read.
As in the days of old.
As in the what?
As in the days of old.
So he's letting you know this is where you were in the wilderness back then. Read.
According to the days of your coming out of the land of Egypt, will I show unto him marvelous things.
Will I do what?
Show unto him marvelous things.
What's the marvelous things that he showed coming out of Egypt? All his signs and wonders. He's telling you right here, I'm going to do it all again. Read.
The nations shall see and be confounded.
They shall do what?
Be confounded. And all their might, they shall lay their hand upon their mouth.
They're going to do what?
Lay their hand upon their mouth.
What they see is going to be so astounding that they're going to put their hands over their mouth, watching in awe. Read.
They shall lay their hand upon their mouth. Their ears shall be deaf. They shall lick the dust like a serpent. They shall move out of their holes like worms of the earth. They shall be afraid of Yahuwah our Elohim, and shall fear because of you. Who is a Elohim? Who is a El like unto you?
Who is what?
An El like unto you.
So they say right here, who is an El like unto you? Remember in Revelation, they're going to say the same thing about the beast. They're going to say, who is like the beast? Who can make war with him? He's saying something that only should be reserved for Yah. Because he wants to be the side guy. Friends with benefits. Oh, y'all heard of that before? Oh, okay. Woo! So he just gave locations of where a lot of this stuff will take place at, the same places that it took place coming out of Egypt. Give me Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 18.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 at verse 18. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, as I have punished the king of Assyria, and I will bring Israel again to his habitation.
I will do what?
Bring Israel again to his habitation.
So we know that this hasn't took place, right? Because he says, I'm going to again bring Israel to his habitation. Read.
And he shall feed on Carmel.
He shall what?
Feed on Carmel.
There we go again. Read.
And Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead. In those days and in that time, saith Yahuwah, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none.
And there shall what?
There shall be none.
What does it mean? He said, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought, and it shall be none. What does that mean? He did what to it? He covered it. When do Yah forgive mass sin? On what day? On atonement, right? So this must mean this is atonement when this is taking place, right? But remember, he also said in Leviticus 26 and 40, if they do something, confess, right? What are we supposed to do on the Day of Atonement? So you're supposed to confess all what you have done to Yah. And another place it says, confess your faults one to another. So that means if you was backbiting and speaking evil against your brothers, you're supposed to come to them and do what? Who gonna do that? But if you don't do it, what happens? So they reconcile, right? So y'all got some stuff set up, because you're going to find that once you get in the wilderness, the serpent can't get you at this moment. He won't be able to get you. But it's somebody else. It's another enemy. It's two other enemies that you're going to have to overcome. Who y'all think that is? Yourself and who else? That's yourself. Your people. Can you get along? Remember, to us, even as grown-ups, we like children to y'all, right? When we put the kids somewhere and tell them, just play. Goodness, when you get out on the game, it's his turn. What's so hard about this? Right? Oh, you lost. Give it up. It's his, right? We do the same thing as adults. Bicker and fight over stuff that ain't absolutely nothing. But unlike children, we don't let it go. Because they can be mad at each other for 1 minute, even had a fight, and they right back. That's what y'all talking about when he says, if you not like a little child, right? We hold on to that thing tight. We hold on to it like a grudge. I'll never let this go. Well, if you don't let it go and you're going to clench it, then you can't open your hand and receive what y'all got for you. Absolutely. Facts. Facts. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you do this, Jacob's trouble comes to you. It's going to come to you. So we see here, he's saying that their sins will be forgiven. Go back to that verse again.
Jeremiah chapter 50 at verse 20. In those days and in that time, saith Yahuwah, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none. And the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found.
They shall what?
Not be found.
They shall not be found. So at this point, these people, our people, have confessed their faults, and their sins have been washed away at this very moment. But it's a lot of people going to be in the wilderness that ain't going to do right. Let's see. Go ahead.
For I will pardon them who I reserve.
I will do what?
I will pardon them who I reserve.
So notice he says, I will pardon them whom I reserve. This don't mean that it's everybody that get this pardon. But if you make it to the wilderness, you want it be one of these. So in Revelation 12, he says, I will feed them. How will he feed the people, our people in the wilderness? With what? With the manna. Same thing he did the first time, right? Give me Exodus 16 and verse 11.
The book of Exodus chapter 16 at verse 11. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel.
I've heard what?
The murmurings of the children of Israel.
Read.
Speak unto them, saying, At even you shall eat flesh, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread, and you shall know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay round about the host. And when the dew that lay was gone up, Behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost, on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, it is manna.
It is what?
It is manna.
It is manna. So he miraculously feeds our people out in the wilderness where nothing can grow, where it's no water, where it's nothing at, to let you know that I'm doing this, right? So let you know that this is something that's this is super out of the ordinary. This is not regular what's happening, to let you know that I'm doing this to show you my power of what I'm doing. Sound like a pretty good deal. We eat manna in the morning and we got to get our meat at night. So we got the barbecue in the evening. Sound like a pretty good deal, right? You ain't working nowhere. Your shoes is brand new every day. Sound like a good deal, right? Oh.
We get something besides food. Got no ox in there, y'all. No oxtail. Got no oxtail.
Hey.
No oxtails in there, y'all.
Hey, this show you just how privileged that you really are. I'm telling you, this show you just how privileged you really are.
Chicken every night.
Yeah.
Chicken every night and bread every morning.
Psalm 78:24.
See how long before you start complaining.
Psalm 78:24.
The book of Psalms, chapter 78 and verse 24. 24.
Uh-huh.
And had rained down manna upon them to eat, and had given them of the corn of Shamaim. Man did eat angels' food.
Man ate what?
Angels' food.
So we fleshly beings was eating what type of food?
Angels' food.
The Malachim's food. And that wasn't good enough. I want to go to Red Lobster. Man, them biscuits with that bread that they got there. Right? We don't want no, I don't want no angel food. What? So y'all right here let you know what you really was eating. Y'all think it had any high fructose corn syrup in it? Y'all think it had GMO? No additives, no preservative? You think it would give you the perfect amount of strength? It wouldn't make you gain weight. It would put muscle on you, everything. Wow. But that wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough. I want you to really think about that. How terrible of a people we really are. So y'all let you know what you was actually eating. And this wasn't good enough. Hold on to that thought. Give me Revelation chapter 12, verse 10. They wanted the food of Egypt, which was the garlic, the leeks, the fish that we in the flesh pots that we ate. So it was a variety, which showing you that Egypt had like a welfare system because it says that we freely ate it. So we was getting the democratic handouts. We was getting them handouts and was loving it. Revelation chapter 12, verse 10.
Right. Can that was the flesh parts. The can to just say meat. Revelation 12 and verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in Shamaim, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our Elohim and the power of his Mashiach. For the accuser of the brethren is cast down.
He is what?
Cast down.
He is cast down. So he is at the height of his pistis, however you want to say it. He is super hot. Now he can no longer do this. Give me Job chapter 1, verse 7.
The book of Job, chapter 1 at verse 7. And Yahuwah said unto Shaitan, where come you from? Where you coming from? Then Shaitan answered Yahuwah and said, from going to and fro in the earth.
So now he is stuck on the earth. It is no more going back and forth to Yah's presence to talk to him anymore. All of that is done. He can no longer do this. So now it's strictly an earthly thing that he's doing now, because he can't do this anymore, which makes him even more hot. Finish that out.
From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And Yahuwah said unto Shaitan, have you considered my servant Job?
Have you considered who?
My servant Job.
Now I want y'all to think about Yah is asking him, have you considered my servant Job? What if he put your name on it? Have you considered my servant Nate? Have you considered my servant Yeshaya? Have you considered my servant Shekau? What if he put your name on it? To see. Just a thought. Go back, Revelation chapter 12, verse 11.
Revelation 12 and verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb.
They did what?
Overcame him by the blood of the Lamb.
So it says they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. So we seen this, it's a group called the Overcomers by the blood of the Lamb. So these people are similar to the disciples. Hold that. Give me Acts chapter 12, verse 22.
The book of Acts chapter 12 and verse 22. And the people gave a shout, saying, it is the voice of Elohim, and not of a man. And immediately the Malach of Yahuwah smote him, because he gave not Elohim the esteem, and he was eaten of worms.
So this is when Herod was taking credit that he shouldn't be taking. And he's very much a picture of the anti-Messiah. He's going to be destroyed at once in the same type of way. But the fire going to be, the worms will be the fire kind. So this man was ruthless when he was on the scene, but the disciples didn't care. Give me Acts chapter 5, verse 27.
The book of Acts, chapter 5, at verse 27. And when they had brought them, they set them before the council. And the high priest asked them, saying, did not we straitly command you that you should not teach in this name?
So they didn't want the disciples teaching in Mashiach's name or his authority. Read.
And behold, you have filled Jerusalem with your doctrine.
You have what?
Filled Jerusalem with your doctrine.
This means that they were defying the government and still teaching about Mashiach. Guess what? In the end times, the Bible is going to be outlawed. It's going to be put as a hate bill. It's going to be like a book that teaches hate and separation. Right? So if you out speaking and talking about abortion should be illegal and only women should be able to use women's bathroom and all of this stuff like this is going to be viewed as hate crime. So the Bible is going to be illegal. This is showing you a picture of it on a small scale. When the anti gets here, it's going to be ramped up 1,000,000 times. Read.
You have filled Jerusalem with your doctrine and intend to bring this man's blood upon us. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey Elohim rather than men.
We ought to do what?
Obey Elohim rather than men.
We ought to obey Yah rather than men. But this going to be a big thing coming real soon. Read.
The Elohim of our fathers raised up Yeshua, whom you slew and hanged on a tree.
And did what?
And hanged on a tree.
And hanged on a tree. So Peter says we ought to obey Yah rather than men. What verse you at?
31.
Read.
Him have Yah exalted with his right hand to be prince and savior, for to give repentance to Israel and forgiveness of sins. And we are his witnesses of these things.
And we what?
Are his witnesses of these things.
And we are his witnesses to these things. So this group that is talking about, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, they are very, very similar to the apostles to overcome. Go back, Revelation chapter 12, verse 12.
Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore, rejoice, you Shamayim, and you that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth.
You say, what did he say right there?
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth.
What does that woe mean? Destruction is something terrible. He says, the heavens should rejoice, but woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Wow. Woe to the people that live on the earth. Read that again.
Therefore, rejoice, you Shamayim, and you that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you.
He did what?
Come down unto you.
Having what?
Having great wrath.
Having what?
Great wrath.
Having great wrath. Read.
Because he knows that he has but a short time.
He has but what?
A short time.
What is the short time? The last 3.5 years. A short time. So he's coming down having great wrath, and now his thing is, I'm going to kill everybody. Matthew 24, verse 21.
The book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation.
There shall be what?
Great tribulation.
Read.
Such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened.
Except those days be what?
Should be shortened.
So Yah had to trim the tribulation down to a 7-year period, and then he had to slim it down to a 3.5-year period. Because if it went any longer than this, what does this mean for man? He'd kill everybody. Read.
There should no flesh be saved.
There should what?
No flesh be saved.
That there would be no flesh saved. So his idea is to kill everybody. In this last 3.5 years, all gloves is off. Revelation chapter 12, verse 14.
Revelation 12 and 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place.
Into where?
Into her place.
Into her place, read.
Where she is nourished for a time, and times, and a half time, from the face of the serpent.
From where?
The face of the serpent.
From the face of the serpent. In Egypt, it was from the face of Pharaoh. But this is the greatest Pharaoh, but way more powerful. So it's something that we about to say. Get Psalms 124, verse 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 124, and verse 1. If it had not been for Yahuwah, who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been for Yahuwah, who was on our side.
If it had been for what?
If it had not been for Yahuwah, who was on our side.
Who's on our who?
Who was on our side.
Read.
When men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up.
They have what?
They had swallowed us up.
So we're going to recognize at that moment, because this psalm is prophesying what is going to be said in the tribulation. Read.
Then they had swallowed us up quick when their wrath was kindled against us. Then the waters had overwhelmed us.
Notice he's talking about waters have overwhelmed us. But this ain't physical waters. Read.
The stream had gone over our soul. Then the proud waters had gone over our soul.
Notice what he says. Then the proud waters have went over our souls. We got to find out what these waters are. Read.
Increased be Yahuwah, who has not given us as a prey to their teeth. Our soul is escaped as a bird.
Our soul is what?
Is escaped as a bird out of the snare.
What did he say? I'm gonna give you eagle's wings and I'm gonna fly you somewhere to the place of safety. This is talking about it right here. Read.
Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken, and we are escaped.
And we are what?
Are escaped.
We are escaped. Read.
Our help is in the name of Yahuwah.
Our help is where?
In the name of Yahuwah.
And us getting a whole bunch of guns and putting food up in some holes somewhere.
Our help is in the name of Yahuwah, who made Shamayim and Eretz.
Woo! Ain't no escape. If you don't sign on with him, there is no escape. Go ahead, Brother E. Oh, I thought he had a question.
So that boy preaching, ain't he?
No, we just teaching as normal. Regular. This ain't Snipes. You know, this ain't my Huck Snipes. You know, do none of that.
The gospel. He proclaiming the gospel up here. It's all right, Doc. No, go on. Who got the water?
So,
get him a water. Get him a water. Get him a water in one of them cloths.
I'll take a brawny. Just a regular napkin.
One of them cloths. Wipe the sweat from his brow.
So the people are saying if it wasn't for Yah, we know that we wouldn't have made it out of this. This is being prophesied of what's taking place at this time. He wrote this all the way back in Psalms to let you know what he was talking about. Remember, he was talking about these waters, right? The proud waters covering the souls and things of this nature, right? Let's go back. Revelation chapter 12. Pick it up at verse 16.
Revelation 12 and verse 16.
You can pick it up at 15.
Revelations chapter 12 and verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
He did what?
Cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
This is the proud waters that is talking about. The army is so large as they moving, it looks like a flood of people. So when we see some sort of concerts, we be like, man, it was a sea of people in there. But this is an army moving and coming after you to try to swallow you up. Read.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman.
It did what?
It helped the woman.
Read.
And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
Wow. He said the earth helped the woman and swallowed the flood up. Go to it right quick. It's in there a bunch, but let's see if that's one of them.
Yeah. So Isaiah 59 and verse 19. So shall they fear the name of Yahuwah from the west, and his esteem from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. The Ruach of Yahuwah shall lift up a standard against him, and the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith Yahuwah. As for me, this is my covenant with them, saith Yahuwah, my Ruach that is upon you, and my words which I have put in your mouth shall not depart out of your mouth, nor out of the mouth of your seed, nor out of the mouth of your seed, saith Yahuwah, from henceforth and forever.
So it's definitely the same type of deal right here with that flood that's talking about the armies of the anti. So he says he's going to open the earth, open her mouth and swallow them up. Where do we see that at in the Old Testament? In Numbers with Korah. This is exactly what took place. He opened the earth up and he swallowed them down alive. It's nothing new under the sun. It's all a repeat. He's doing everything over. If you understand and know the Old Testament, you should be able to figure it out and see almost everything that's going to take place. Go back to the Revelation 12:17 again. Or where you left off at.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12, at verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
He was what?
Wroth with the woman.
Read.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments of Elohim.
So it's a group that's not included in the wilderness people. So now I can't get to them. So now I'm going to get the rest of them. Absolutely. So he can't get them because they in the protected place. But now I'm going after the other group that's not protected. Get me Luke chapter 19, verse 12. This is a part of it. It's gonna be it's multiple, it's layered, multi-layered how everything is gonna work out. Because right here he's just zooming in on the people that's in the wilderness. So, but it's a whole other groups somewhere else. But right here, he focusing in right on these people that's in the wilderness and how they gonna be affected. Then it's gonna come out and it's gonna go in here and zoom in to this group. You know what I'm saying? Then it's gonna go in on the Antichrist in chapter 13 and just zoom in on him and the false prophet and how they do. Right? Where I tell you to get? Yeah, Luke chapter 12, I think I said. Luke chapter 19, verse 12.
The book of Luke, chapter 19 and verse 12. And he said, therefore, a certain nobleman went into a far country.
He went where?
And went into a far country.
He said a certain nobleman. What does that mean, nobleman? Somebody's very important. Read. But he went, notice it says he went to a far country. Read.
To receive for himself a kingdom.
To do what?
To receive for himself a kingdom.
Wait a minute. Who do y'all think this is? A nobleman going to a far country to go and get a kingdom. That's his Mashiach. B, didn't you say he the doctor, he the Lord? It's always him. You see? Read on.
And he said, therefore, a certain nobleman went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom.
Where's the far country that he went?
Earth.
He left the earth and went into a far country. He was on earth and he left and went into a far country. What? To Shamayim. He's going to Shamayim to get the kingdom. Read.
To receive for himself a kingdom and to return. And he called his 10 servants and delivered them 10 pounds and said unto them, occupy till I come.
Until I what?
Until I come.
Read.
Both his citizens hated him, but his citizens hated him.
But his what?
His citizens hated him.
Meaning these people on the earth hated him. So he went, he died and did all of this wonderful stuff for you and cried and says, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do. He died on the stake, arose, and went back to Shamayim to get the kingdom. But what did it say?
But his citizens hated him.
But his citizens hated him. Remember I asked y'all in the beginning, if it wasn't for Yah's law, how would you be living? These people want to continue to live how they are. Yah's law is getting in their way. It's stopping me from living my best life. So now he's coming back with the kingdom and he says, but the citizens hated him. Read.
And sent a message after him, saying, we will not have this man to reign over us.
We will what?
We will not have this man to reign over us.
We don't want him to reign over us. We've had a choice from the beginning. It was the tree of life or the tree of good and evil. What did we choose? The tree of good and evil. We had the choice between him and Barabbas. Who did we choose? It's going to be a choice between Mashiach and the Anti. Who are you going to choose? But what if they look alike? What if the one is acting and portraying himself to be him, how do you know the difference? Remember, it says that he comes down and he deceives the whole world. How do you know who is who? Which is which? He's telling us, but still, they knew all through the book and still made the wrong choice. Still made the wrong choice time after time after time after time. Because it's the desires of the heart, the desires of the flesh that wants to win out. So these people know it's him, but they say, we refuse, we do not want this man to reign over us. Read.
And it came to pass that when he was returned, having received the kingdom,
Having what?
having received the kingdom,
Read.
then he commanded these servants to be called unto him, to whom he had given the money, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. Then came the first, saying, Master, your pound has gained 10 pounds.
So we good right here. But if we keep reading, you'll see this is when he is dividing and giving out cities to certain individuals who have overcome. 5 cities to one man, 10 cities to another man, all depending on you and your righteousness and how much you did and according to your works and how you went about it. So he went back to Yah, got the kingdom to bring it down with him, but the people didn't want it because they're going to enjoy when the serpent is in rulership. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. This is a greatly misunderstood verse. I've used this wrong 1,000 times because I thought that this took place back sometimes in Genesis. It did not. It's still to take place.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 12. How art you fallen from Shamaim, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How are you cut down to the ground?
How you what?
Cut down to the ground.
This is the same thing that it's talking about in Revelation chapter 12. They was prophesying all about it over here the whole time. This did not take place in Genesis. Read.
How are you fallen to the ground? How are you cut down to the ground?
How are you what?
Cut down to the ground,
Read.
which did weaken the nations. For you have said in your heart.
He said it where?
You have said in your heart.
So he think because I don't say it out loud that I get away with it. Remember when Sarah laughed within herself? She laughed at Yah, but she did it inside. He think I'm going to have a baby and I'm 90 years old. He can't do that. Hey, Sarah, I heard you. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say nothing. Yes, you did. I heard you. Scared to death. I was thinking about what we was talking about at dinner the other day. That's what I was. No, you didn't. You thought I couldn't do it. So Satan is saying this within his heart. This is after he is kicked out. Read.
For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into Shamaim.
I will do what?
Ascend into Shamaim.
I just got kicked out. I'm going back. He ain't stopping me. So remember, in order to keep Adam and Eve out of the garden, what did Yah do? He put the Malachims there because they wanted to go back. So Satan just left and kicked out from this place, this marvelous place. He can't get back in. He hot about it. I'm getting back in. Read.
For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into Shamaim. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim.
I will do what?
Exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim.
Read.
I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
And what?
In the sides of the north.
Remember what the sides of the north are, right? That's Jerusalem. Psalms 48. Read.
I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
What does it mean when he say, I will be like the Most High? What does that mean? Come again? All power. Let's see. Let's see something, because when you say this, it's got a deeper meaning. Let's go to law first mention. Genesis chapter 14 and verse 18. Genesis chapter 14 and verse 18.
The book of Genesis chapter 14 and verse 18. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High Elohim. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High Elohim.
Of who?
Of the Most High Elohim.
Read.
Possessor of Shamaim and Eretz.
That's exactly what it means. So when you say you're going to be like the Most High, he's saying that I'm going to be the possessor of what? The heaven and the earth. Because that's what it means to be the Most High. This is what he actually saying within his heart. He's claiming that I'm going to rule everything, not just the heaven or not just the earth, but both, just like Yah. But I'm going to take it from him. Go back to Isaiah 14 and pick it up at verse 24.
Isaiah 14 and verse 24. And Yahuwah of hosts have sworn, saying, Surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass. And as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land.
I will break who?
The Assyrian in my land.
I will break the Roman.
The Assyrian in my land.
Read.
And upon my mountains tread him underfoot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them.
Then it shall his what?
His yoke depart from off them.
Read.
And his burden depart from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth. And this is the hand that is stretched out upon all nations.
This is what?
The hand that is stretched out upon all nations.
Read.
For Yahuwah of hosts have purposed, and who shall disannul it?
Who shall what?
Disannul it.
Who shall disannul it? So we're going to find out probably in the next one that the Antichrist is actually working for Yah, but he don't know it. He's working for Yah. He's doing a job, but he don't know that he is. He thinks he's doing his own thing. So Yah told you, I work out everything, no matter how bad it is, for the good. Right? We're going to see it. Revelation chapter 12, verse 13. How long have I been going? Okay, we got a little more.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman.
So it says, and when he saw, it's like he was shocked to find out that he wasn't in heaven no more. It happened really, really fast. Mashiach says, I beheld Satan fall like something, like lightning. So it happens quickly. And it's like he fall to the earth, and then he realized, dang, I ain't in heaven no more. But once he come to his senses, read that again.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child.
Which did what?
Brought forth the man-child.
So he persecutes the woman which brought forth the man-child. That's the man-child is the 144 that escaped into Shamaim. Read.
And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness.
What kind of bird was it?
A great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness.
That she might what?
Fly into the wilderness.
That she might fly into the wilderness. Exodus 19, verse 3. The woman is Israel. Exodus 19, verse 3.
The book of Exodus chapter 19 and verse 3. And Moses went up unto Elohim, and Yahuwah called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shall you say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bear you on eagle's wings.
On how I did what?
And how I bear you on eagle's wings.
So the same thing that he did back there, he's going to do it over here. The same type of method. I want you to know that the people are going to be looking for you. They're going to be searching for you, but they won't be able to find you if you escape to the wilderness. Exodus chapter 13, verse 21.
The book of Exodus chapter 13 and verse 21. And Yahuwah went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud.
In a what?
In a pillar of a cloud.
So it was smoking hot out there. So he's a cloud by day to keep you from burning up. Read.
To lead them the way. And by night a pillar of fire.
And by night what?
A pillar of fire to give them light and to go by day and night.
So how is the desert weather at night? It's cold. So y'all is the air conditioner by day and the heater by night to keep you in a perfect temperature. I'm not going to burn you up in the day, and I ain't going to let you freeze at night. So this is what he was for us at this moment. Now, while this is taking place, the people want to know where you are. Exodus chapter 14, verse 17.
The book of Exodus chapter 14 and verse 17. And I, behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. And I will get me honor upon Pharaoh.
And I will do what?
Get me honor upon Pharaoh.
So think about this. And I will harden the heart of the Antichrist, and I will get me honor upon him. Read.
And upon all his host, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahuwah, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, upon his horsemen. And the Malach of Elohim, which went before the camp of Israel.
It did what?
Went before the camp of Israel.
Read.
Removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians.
It came between what?
The camp of the Egyptians.
So right here, this cloud by day and the fire by night, it now is in between them. It separates them. Even though they trying their best to find where you at, even with their fancy GPSs and all that stuff that they got now, it won't work. Read.
And removed and went behind them And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these.
It did what?
Gave light by night to these.
So it's putting them in darkness, but it's giving us light. And it's keeping the two adversaries apart from each other. They are trying to find where you are, but Yah is superseding it and won't let them get to you. But remember, I told you, the serpent can't get you, but it's the other enemies that you got to overcome, which is again who? Yourself and your people. So again, some escape into this wilderness and they can't find you, but now you got to overcome you. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 35. How many adults over the age of 20 that came out of Egypt made it into the land? 2? You mean to tell me it was 600,000 something that came out and only 2 of them made it? Wow. Will that be the same thing that take place this time? Read on. My bad. Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 35.
The book of Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 35. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face.
I will do what?
Plead with you face to face.
Face to face. Read.
Like as I pled with your fathers in the wilderness.
So go back and read the stuff in the account in Egypt and see what he was doing, because he's telling you, I'm going to do the same thing with you. I'm going to plead with you face to face. Read.
Like as I pled with you, with your fathers in the wilderness of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith Yahuwah Elohim. And I will cause you to pass under the rod.
I will do what?
Cause you to pass under the rod. And I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
I will do what?
Purge out from among you the rebels.
So it's going to be rebels in there. And I got to get them out the same way I got them out the first time. I got to purge out from among you the rebels. Read.
And them that transgress against me. And I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel.
They shall what?
Not enter into the land of Israel.
They not going to enter into the land of Israel. Now again, what would make us be rebels in the wilderness? Want to do what you want to do, and the simplest stuff ever. Let's see. Numbers chapter 11 and verse 4. We touched on it a little bit, but now we're going to just bring it. Numbers 11 and verse 4.
The book of Numbers chapter 11 and verse 4. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting.
They did what?
Fell a lusting.
Read.
And the children of Israel also wept again and said, who shall give us flesh to eat?
Who shall give us what?
Flesh to eat.
Now remember, he already gave you flesh, right? Remember he said, I'm going to give it to you by manna in the morning. I'm going to give you flesh at night. But that wasn't good enough. Read.
We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely.
What was they eating?
The fish which we did eat in Egypt freely.
I bet it was catfish. He said, the flesh that we ate freely. They had the debit cards. every day. I mean, the bridge cards, every feeling. They wasn't even ashamed of spending them. That's me, though. Go ahead, read.
The cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away.
He said, what?
Our soul is dried away.
The angels' food ain't good enough. He said, our souls is dried away. Read.
There is nothing at all besides this manna.
It ain't nothing at all besides this manna. I want you to think about this. These people are losing their salvation off of food. Absolutely. It's a lot of people that died of cancer and all type of diseases, and they turn and blame Yah and say, oh, my grandma was that was a good lady. She fed the whole neighborhood, and everybody went over her house and watched movies on Saturday, and she ain't never do nothing but tell her that she was eating crawfish and stuff every day. Pork chops, the whole nine. You blaming Yah, but you did that. That's a direct thing on you. When your health is failing, most of the time it's because of intake of what you have put into you. That man told you how to eat and what not to eat. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yep. So it's not Yah. It's you. And think about all the people that done said, I don't care what you say. I'm not giving up my pork. No, I'm gonna eat my stuff. I don't care. You might as well go on with that Bible because you're not stopping me. Absolutely. Yep. My man at work told me this. He said, Ronnie, I don't care what you say, bro. I'm telling you, my grandma lived to be 84. She ate pork every day. I say she probably should have lived to 104. But we'll never know. But that's the ignorance of speaking when you don't know what you're talking about. So these people have made it to the wilderness, and you mean to tell me you're going to die over food? Not the lack of it, but because it's something that I don't want. If you hungry, you will go in there and eat them spaghetti. Ain't that what we... Yo, I know everybody remember the big pot of spaghetti, right? I don't want no spaghetti. Well, you ain't hungry there. Yo, I was watching this stuff on Facebook. These kids is over there. They're eating what is called mosquito burgers, where they got a pan and it's millions of mosquitoes out there. They don't even care about getting bit. They catching them, and there's millions of them, and they put them into a patty and fry them and eat them like a burger, and it's like the best to them. That's how, again, we don't get it, how fortunate we really are. We, they, they, they are eating millions of mosquitoes in each burger. That's how many mosquitoes it is. And the kids is the one out there catching them. The people in Haiti is taking dirt cookies and making cookies out of dirt. And we throwing food away and acting like you got it rough. Look down at the stomach and you see you don't got it rough. Man, I'm telling you, we're in all of this stuff because Adam and Eve wanted to eat something that was off limits to them, right? It was bad for their health, but that's what they wanted, right? One tree will bring you eternal life, and this other one is the tree of death. And they chose it. And that same thing is being passed down. So you're going to lose your life and your salvation because you want to eat something that's bad for you. So all these things, because you can't control the belly, and thousands of our people died in the wilderness off of this. So speaking of food, let's see something. One of the people that we going to be around in the wilderness, let's see something. Isaiah chapter 16, verse 1.
The book, the book of Isaiah, chapter 16 and verse 1. Send you the lamb to the ruler of the land.
To who?
To the ruler of the land.
Read.
From Selah to the wilderness, unto the mountain of the daughter of Zion. For it shall be that a wandering bird cast out of the nest, so the daughters of Moab shall be at the fords of Arnon.
So the daughters of who?
Moab.
The daughters of Moab. That should make y'all think about something. The daughters of Moab. Hold it. Read on.
Take counsel, execute judgment, make your shadow as the night in the midst of the noonday. Hide the outcast. Bewray not him that wanders.
He says, hide who?
The outcast.
Hide my outcast. Who is this outcast right here? It's us. It's some of our people. He say, hide my outcast. Read.
Betray not him that wander.
That do what?
That wanders.
So it's somebody that's not a part of that main group, but they are running and trying to hide, and they're going to be amongst Moab. Read.
Let my outcast dwell with you.
Let my what?
My outcast dwell with you.
Read.
Moab, be you a covert to them.
Be a what?
A covert to them.
Read.
From the face of the spoiler.
From the face of who?
Of the spoiler.
From the face of the spoiler. So it's letting you know that some of our people going to be fending for themselves. They're going to be running and they're going to be hiding and they're going to run to Moab and they're going to be amongst Moab. And Yah says, hide my outcast. Now, this people got a chance to help you. Let's just say, for instance, the Harriet Tubman stuff is real, right? When they said when they had the Underground Railroad that it was white people that was assisting and helping, right? That helped us get to safety and to freedom. So in helping us, what were those people really doing for themselves? They was putting themselves in harm's way with man, but in Yah's eyes, what were they doing? They was doing what? They was helping his people, right? Let's see something. Give me Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. We almost there, y'all. Genesis chapter 12, verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 12, and verse 1. Now the master has said to Abram, get you out of your country, and from your kindred, and from your father's house, unto a land that I will show you, and I will make of you a great nation.
I will do what?
I will make of you a great nation.
Read.
And I will increase you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing.
You shall be a what?
A blessing.
Read.
And I will increase them that increase you, and curse them that curse you, and you and all the families of the earth shall be increased.
Shall be what?
Increased.
Shall be increased. So right here, y'all, this is an ancient prophecy. He says, whoever blesses you, I'm going to bless them. Whoever curses you, I'm going to curse them. Moab is around our people at this point where we just was reading, and Yah says, hide my outcast with you. What do you think Moab is going to do? Will Moab receive the blessing or the curse? Will they help us? They're gonna, or will they do to us what they did the first time? Get me Numbers chapter 25. So remember, it says something about the daughters of Moab. Yep.
The book of Numbers, chapter 25, at verse 1. And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. And they called the people unto the sacrifice of their El, and the people did eat and bowed down to their El. And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against Israel. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them up before Yahuwah against the sun, that the fierce anger of Yahuwah may be turned away from Israel.
So notice the same stuff that took place, they're going to put you in the same predicament. So what if you were battling the lust demon and these daughters of Moab come to entice you? Everything repeats itself, right? So remember, I want you to think of how deep these people's hatred is for you. Who all got daughters in here? Right? How do you feel about your daughter dating? Hate it, right? And as she is a mother, but the men really understand where I'm coming from with this, right? These men of Moab gave their daughters to be whores to turn man away from Yah. You hate us that bad that you did this with your daughter. I couldn't, what? Oh, your daughters, not mine. They did this with their own daughters. They set it up. We don't think nobody good enough for our daughter. We don't want no. What? And these people willingly gave their daughters up just so they can make us sin and go off. This is the level of hatred that they got for you. But at the same time, they cursing themselves because Yah says, I'm going to bless them that bless you and curse them that curse you. So if the Harriet Tubman thing was actually what it is that they say it is, them people was getting a blessing to themselves because they was helping. So that same thing is transpiring again. Last two. B touched on this stuff in not the last lesson, but the one before this. And it's right, but I'm going to show you another way that this is going to play out in the end times. Give me Matthew chapter 25 and verse 31. Matthew 25 and 31.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25, at verse 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his esteem.
When he shall what?
Come in his esteem.
So he's letting you know I'm thinking about kingdom time, my second coming. Read.
And all the set apart Malachim with him. Then shall he sit upon the throne of his esteem. And before him shall be gathered all nations. And he shall separate them one from another.
He shall what?
Separate them one from another.
So he's going to separate them one from another. What's going to cause this separation? Why? What's going to make the separation? Read.
As a shepherd divides his sheep from his goats, and he shall set the sheep on his right hand.
He shall do what?
Set the sheep on his right hand.
So he's going to put the sheep on the right hand, and what else?
But the goats on the left.
So it's something that's going to make a separation between the sheep and the goat. Read.
Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, you increased of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
From where?
From the foundation of the world.
Read.
For I was an hungered, and you gave me meat.
I was what?
A hungered, and you gave me meat.
So some of these people that's from us is going to be out there scrounging and trying to eat. And they're going to be amongst the other nations. And they're going to have the opportunity to help them, to feed them, to clothe them. Wonder what they're going to do. Read.
I was thirsty, but I was a hungered, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Master, when saw we you, and hungered, and fed you, or thirsty, and gave you drink? And when saw we you, a stranger, and took you in, or naked, and clothed you? Or when saw we you sick, or in prison, and came unto you? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Truly I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, you have done it unto me.
You have what?
Done it unto me.
So when the other nations see our people in the wilderness starving and going through what they're going through, if you help, you punched your ticket into the kingdom. Right? You punched your ticket, you in. Because you just did that which is right and what you would want somebody to do for you. Right? That made you a sheep. That put you on the right hand. Right? Read on.
Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me.
Do what?
Depart from me.
Read.
You cursed into everlasting fire,
Now I wonder why they're going to be cursed in the everlasting fire. Read.
prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was an hungered, and you gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink.
Remember, he ain't talking about him for real. He's talking about if you don't help my brethren out, my people out, you did it to me. Read.
I was a stranger, and you took me not in. Naked, and you clothed me not. Sick and in prison, and you visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Master, when saw we you an hungered or athirst?
If I would have saw it was you, I would have helped you. I would have gave you anything you wanted. I would have invited you to the big seat on the table. You could have ate the big piece of chicken if I knew it was you. Right? Read.
Or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in a prison, or did not minister unto you? Then shall he answer them, saying, Truly, I say unto you, inasmuch as you did it not to one of the least of these, you did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment.
Go away into what?
Everlasting punishment.
Into everlasting punishment. So when you think that you're still hurting just the people, you actually hurting yourself. So these people, the people that don't help, you cursing yourself. You punching your ticket directly into the lake of fire. Now, we know that it's going to be some of these same groups. Let's see 3 of the groups off the rip that's going to be there, that's going to have an opportunity to help you. Give me Daniel chapter 11 and verse 41. And remember, these people that he about to name is our brother and our cousins.
The book of Daniel, chapter 11 and verse 41. He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand.
But these what?
Shall escape out of his hand.
So these 3 nations right here is going to escape from the Antichrist. Read.
Even Edom.
Even who?
Even Edom.
Our brother. Read.
And Moab.
Moab, our cousins.
And the chief of the children of Ammon.
And Ammon. Read.
He shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries and the land of Egypt.
So these 3 nations escape from the Antichrist. They won't be under his control. They have the golden opportunity to help you out. But are they going to let the ancient hatred that they had for us blind them and curse them? Or will they wise up and do like Esau when he saw Jacob come back? What did Esau do with Jacob when he came back? Fell on him, hugged him, kissed him. But that was him. What about his descendants? What about his children? Are they going to do the same thing? No. They're going to curse themselves. Psalms 83. Verse 3.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83, and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against you,
They have
against your
did what?
people. Have taken crafty counsel against your people,
Read.
and consulted against your hidden ones.
Your which ones?
Your hidden ones.
Your hidden ones. Read.
They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let us do what?
Cut them off from being a nation.
So their goal is, I'm not going to let these people be a nation. They back. We thought we got rid of them forever. They shipped them on the other side of the world. We thought we'd never deal with them again. Read.
Let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Read.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
They have did what?
They have consulted together with one consent.
Read.
They are confederate against you.
They are what?
Confederate against you.
They have one mind, like Revelation talks about. Read.
The tabernacles of Edom.
Wait a minute. Who?
The tabernacles of Edom.
Wow, they in it. Read.
And the Ishmaelites.
And who else?
The Ishmaelites.
Read.
Of Moab.
Of who?
Of Moab.
Wow, so Moab and Edom is both there in it. Read.
And the Hagarenes. Gebal and Ammon.
And who?
And Ammon.
And Ammon. They all three decide to forego the blessing and receive the cursings to themselves. Absolutely. So this is showing you a picture of what's going to be taking place in the wilderness with the different people and the different groups and how people are going to be acting and doing. So just go back through Exodus chapter 12 and all that and read out and see. If I want to make it through this, don't do what they doing. If you are blessed enough, don't do what they are doing in there. Matter of fact, Exodus chapter 1, read it all the way out and see what they're doing. Then all in Numbers. Because if you do what they're doing, what our people was doing then, it's going to be bad for you. So with that, we'll stop right here. And this court is adjourned.
Questions, comments, statements. You like it, you love it. Revelations chapter 14, 13, next week. Next time.
It's got to go all the way out to Revelation chapter 22. Then I got to double back and pick it back up at Revelation chapter 1. Because we started this at Revelation chapter 6. So I got to show how the congregations, each one of them fit into the whole situation. That means we got to do a refresher and watch it back. Yep. But we ready whenever. Questions on the chat?
No questions on the chat. I had a few questions though. I got a lot of questions. I'll ask some of these after class. But Ezekiel 20 and verse 37, is that a marriage?
Is that what?
Is that a marriage?
Yeah, remember he's talking about I will allure her. Everything he's doing is talking like marriage language. So yes, this is a part of it.
Oh yeah, you read Luke 19 and 12. That reminded me of Matthew chapter 25 with the money and stuff. Passed out money and some people doubled it and stuff like that.
Hold on, you're getting low, muffled.
Oh, check. Can you hear me now? My bad. I was saying you had read Luke 19 and Luke chapter 19 verse 12. I'm saying that reminded me of Matthew 25. When certain people were giving out money and some doubled and stuff like that. So I was just making that correlation. But this was a good lesson, man.
Most def.
Hallelujah. Oh yeah, one last thing. In Matthew 25, 31 through 46, that passage has been I guess it's been read different. It's basically as to say we should do these things today, which we should, like helping the poor and stuff like that. But that's not what in context. It's not talking about that.
That's why I
Hallelujah.
mentioned that B brought this up in not the one lesson, but the one before.
Yeah.
But it's right. It's still on point
Yeah.
to do all of that stuff.
For sure.
But yeah,
It's just not talking about it in context. I didn't know it until you brought it out.
yeah, it's an end time thing.
Hallelujah.
That's why he's talking about separating, and he lets you know I'm talking about kingdom time at this particular time, and this is what's going to be transpiring when I'm coming back.
Hallelujah.
People going to be doing my people wrong, and they're going to pay for it.
For sure. Mercy.
You bless them, I'm gonna bless you. You curse them, I'm gonna curse you.
So we do have a question from Divine or Devin. It says, "Will all of Edom, Moab, and Ammon be cursed, or some of them?"
It's definitely not all of them, but it's the majority of them. Because when we look in let me get it right quick. When we go to Zechariah, it lets us in on something. So it's some reason that these people survive. Hold on one moment. There we go. Zechariah 12. No, Zechariah 14. Zechariah 14 and verse 13. It says, "And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from Yahuwah shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathens round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. And so shall be the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, and of the donkey, and of the beast that shall be in these tents at this plague. And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King of Yahuwah, King Yahuwah of hosts, and to keep the feast of tabernacles." So with some of these people that was fighting directly, the nation of them was fighting against Yah, but it's some of these people that's not going to be with it, that's going to go against what's supposed to be happening and actually help. This is how they're going to survive and make it to this. "And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahuwah of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith Yahuwah will smite the heathens that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacles." So even in this millennium kingdom, some of these people is still not going to want to do right. So this is how some of these people are going to make it, because they're going to help his people. But I don't think it'll be many of them. That's just my thought.
I got one more question. We have went through Luke 19 and 12, where it talks about you know, Yahusha going to receive for himself a kingdom
Uh
as he
huh.
returns. So remember how you talked about a couple weeks ago? You said, and I thought this too. Like you say, he go to a prepared place for us. Like he going to work, but you said it don't take 2,000 years to make nothing. So what is he doing? You know?
He's when he said, "I'm going to prepare a place for you," he was talking about, "I'm going to create the government spots for you." That's what Satan and them was cast down. They lost their spots, their positions that they had. Again, it took him 6 days to create the heavens and the earth. Why would it take him 2,000 years to create that when all he do is say it, let there be light? You know what I'm saying? So that don't make sense.
I don't see any more questions. So I think we all good on the chat. Yes, sir.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Where you going? Oh, announcements.
All right. I hope you have enjoyed this edition of TCS, the Chosen Seed, going through Satan on Earth. All right. So we're going to conclude here. And as we always do, we're going to conclude with the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter number 12 and verse number 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. It is so very important that we understand that in the conclusion of the whole matter, we are to fear the Most High and keep his commandments, because this is the whole duty of man. At the end of the day, when it is all said and done, all the dust is settled and all the smoke is cleared, we will be judged on whether we have feared the Most High and kept his commandments. Why? Because this is the entire reason that we are here. I am your Akazaki Yahoo, giving all praises, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power, Yahuwah Bahashem, Yahushua HaMashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth. I say, Shalom wa Baruki. That is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day that the Most High brings us back together, and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High power, under one covenant, and back in our own land with a heart of flesh and no more a heart of stone. Until that day come, shalom, family.